the algorithm will be explained using a numerical example. So I'll use a numerical example for the explanation purpose of this algorithm. Actually, what I personally feel that any nature-inspired algorithm can be better understood if we understand it using some numerical calculation, some numerical example, some hand calculations. So I took this example. I prepared a very simple toy kind of example for solution using ant colony optimization. So before I start the example, let me first give me some background of this algorithm. What all about this algorithm is. This algorithm was proposed in 1992 by an Italian scientist, Marco Dorigo. Marco Dorigo proposed this in 1992 in his PhD thesis. Actually, it was a material for his PhD thesis in which he proposed the ant systems. So in the ant system, the ant colony optimization algorithm was proposed. This algorithm, the most important thing to note about this algorithm is that this algorithm is good for discrete optimization problems, particularly for the discrete optimization problems. If you have a continuous optimization problem, of course, there is a version of ant colony optimization algorithm which is called ACO-R, which can solve that problem also, but the performance is not that good. If you use some other algorithm for continuous optimization problem, for example, differential evolution is a good choice, PSO is a good choice, ABC is a good choice, and I also proposed one algorithm, spider monkey optimization algorithm, that is also a good choice. So for continuous optimization problems, this algorithm is not recommended. If you have a continuous optimization problem, no need to go with this algorithm. If you have a discrete optimization problem means where you have a function to minimize or maximize whatever it is, right? So minimize or maximize, and this x can take discrete values. So discrete values means x belongs to some set, maybe 1, 2.1, 3, 7, 9.2. So only out of these values, this x can take a possible value. Means x can take only values from a finite set. If from a finite set x can take the values, countable values, then this is a discrete variable, and the problem is said to be an optimization problem, is said to be a discrete optimization problem. But for continuous optimization problems, what happens? It is like this, that x belongs to this interval, right? So infinite values are there in the interval 0 to 5. So for continuous optimization problems, we don't rarely we recommend ant colony optimization algorithm. Of course, it works, but not that efficiently. We have even better algorithms for for continuous optimization problems. So what I said that first of all, ant colony optimization is a discrete optimization algorithm. It is good to solve the problems. Initially, actually, it was proposed for the traveling salesman problem, TSP. It was proposed for TSP, traveling salesman problem, to find the minimum route from one point to another route, so that the total cost or the distance, whatever, is minimum. Very famous. So traveling salesman problem, need not to explain. So it was proposed to this, but later it was found that other optimization problems can also be, other discrete optimization problems can also be solved using ACO. So what I'm today going to tell you, how this lecture is different from other lectures or from other resources which you may have available. So whenever you want to learn ACO, you will see that all the algorithms, all the tutorials, they solve TSP using ACO. But what I want to say, of course, they suggest that you model your problem as TSP and then solve this. But here I'm directly taking an example of a discrete optimization problem, not TSP, and solving using ant colony optimization algorithm. Another thing is that this ant colony optimization algorithm, is inspired. So this is a nature-inspired algorithm. So there is a natural phenomena. There, in all the nature-inspired optimization algorithm, there is a natural phenomena which inspires to develop an algorithm. And here, the natural phenomena is the foraging behavior of ants. Foraging behavior of ants. Here, the natural phenomena which inspired the development of this algorithm is the foraging behavior of ants. How the ants forage. So how ants forage? Actually, they have an intelligent foraging behavior. Ants has an intelligent foraging behavior. What is the intelligence in that foraging behavior? Let me tell you, they always find the shortest path from nest to the food source. Always find it. If this path, they always find shortest path. If you put some obstacle here, then they will choose this path, not this path. This path will not be chosen, but this path will be chosen. Right? So ants are intelligent in foraging, right? And this foraging behavior is simulated, has inspired in the development of ant colony optimization algorithm. Now, just quickly, I tell you the foraging behavior, ants foraging behavior, and then I will come to the example, ants foraging behavior. Ants foraging behavior. So in the ants foraging behavior, what is the intelligence in their behavior? So let me tell you what is the intelligence. And once we will understand this concept, if this foraging behavior is understood, it means we are done, right? So suppose there is a nest here of ants. This is the house of ants, right? Many ants are there, right? And suppose here is the food source. Here is the food source. Some food is there, and they want to reach to here, and there are many paths. What I said, that ants always find the shortest path from one point to another point. And I hope you understand that since they always find the shortest path, this strategy or this algorithm is good for robotic path planning problems. I hope you understand that how the robots will find the shortest path from point A to point B. So this can be applied to the robotic path planning problem very efficiently, and in fact is being applied throughout the world. People are using ant colony optimization algorithm for the robotic path planning problems. All right. So here, let me explain you about this foraging behavior. Once we understand this, the coding of this algorithm, understanding the numerical example of this algorithm will become very easy. So let me tell you. Suppose there are, this is one path, this is another path, this is another path, this is one path, and this is another path. Suppose these are the 5 paths available from nest to the food source. I hope you understand that this path, let me just mark this path. So this path is the best path. You understand that this path is the best path, and you can understand that this path is the worst path. This you can understand, right? So worst path and best path. Now you believe on the ants that ants will not choose this path, they will choose this best path. They will not choose the worst path, but they will choose the best path. So how they will do it? This is a very intelligent behavior and very interesting also. I assure you that if you will listen carefully, you will be able to understand also. So what they do initially they do not know. The ants are a small creature, so they do not know that at this junction, when they will start from their nest, they don't know whether this path, this path, this path, this or this, which path is the minimum path or is the shortest path. So initially what they do in our algorithm also, we will do the same thing. What we will do, they will choose any path randomly. The very first thing, choose any path randomly. Any path randomly. So out of 5 paths, all the paths are chosen randomly. Any path can be chosen. It means in terms of algorithm or in terms of mathematics, if we want to simulate this concept, then it means every path has the same probability. Since there are 5 paths, so 5 paths has the same probability 1 by 5. Means the probability of path I, that path I is selected, is 1 by 5. Any path can be selected here with this probability 1 by 5, with this probability 1 by 5, right? I hope you understand that since any path can be chosen randomly means equal probability, they can choose any path. So yes, okay. Suppose there are 50 ants initially started, flying. So using a simple probability rules, using simple mathematics or statistics rules, that if the probability is same and 50 ants are there, 5 paths are there, then each path will have 10 ants on an average. Not exactly 10, don't worry, not exactly 10, but on average 10 ants will be there on each path. It is expected. Of course, there may be few paths where more than 10 ants may be there, less than 10 ants may be there, or whatever. But on an average, 10 ants will be there on each path because we are following a uniform probability distribution. Now, what happens when they move? They follow a rule. And what the rule is, they deposit a pheromone. They deposit a pheromone on the path. On this path, this path, this path. On every path, all the ants deposit a pheromone. Pheromone is a kind of chemical, is a kind of a smell, right? And this smell has a property. That this pheromone evaporates. This pheromone evaporates also, right? So now you see here the ants which had chosen this longer path, the ants which had chosen the shortest path. Every ant is depositing same amount of pheromone, same number of ants are going there, and the pheromone has a property that it evaporates with time. So now you see that the ants who are using this path will take more time. If the time is taken more on this path, the evaporation rate will also be high, right? So what I say, that on longer path, evaporation is high. Right? And shorter paths, vice versa, evaporation is less. Shorter path, evaporation is less. It means concentration of pheromone is more. Means more pheromone will be found. More pheromone will be found on shorter paths. I hope I'm okay here. That you will find more pheromone on the shorter paths. And on the longer paths, the pheromone will be evaporation rate is high, so less pheromone will be there because it is taking more time, and if the time is more, evaporation more, time is less, evaporation is less. So the concentration of the pheromone on this path, suppose the concentration of pheromone is tau1. Let us denote the pheromone amount by tau. Right, so on this path 1, let me call this path 1. So tau1 will definitely be greater than, if this is the 5th path, then will greater than tau 5 because the ants are taking more time in moving here to here, so the evaporation will be more, and therefore the amount of pheromone on these longer paths will be less, right? That's all. Up to here, nothing intelligence, right? No intelligence like thing. They are just blindly moving in to any path, right? Ants are moving blindly to any path. So up to here, there is no intelligence, but now the intelligence is coming. What happens when the next 50 ants, these ants who are going from here, they will return also. So in the return also, but of course this concept is not applied to our algorithms. In the return also, they can again check, because this time this is your nest. Now the food source will be the nest this time, and this nest will become the food source. Just our objective is just the home and the destination. Point A to point B. We don't mind whether it is a nest or a food source. We just want to say that here. So I'm instead of explaining from here, I'm again explaining from here, right? Whether you can consider the same concept from the food source also, in return also. But now see here. The ants are here. Now next 50 ants, suppose 50 ants or 100 ants or whatever the number of ants, just I'm taking, for simplicity, I'm taking 50 ants again. So again, next 50 ants have come here at the gate of their nest, their nest, and then they again found that there are 5 paths. Again, they found that there are 5 paths, but now the probabilities will not be same. Now they will not be unbiased for every path. They are biased towards certain paths. Now, because the earlier ants have deposited some pheromone, earlier ants has given some information to them, and this information sharing is called stigmergy. I hope you heard about this word. Stigmergy means by depositing pheromone or by sharing information, change the environment. So now the first 50 ants who have moved from this path to this path, they have changed the environment. And now that means they are sharing the information, and this environment has been changed. So next 50 ants, when they will come here at the gate of their nest, they will see that this path has less pheromone while this path has high pheromone. Let me make it more dark, right? So this path has high pheromone, this path has less pheromone, this path, and corresponding accordingly means some proportion is there of the path, pheromones. So they will give more probability to this path, and this probability, now the probability, earlier what happened? Earlier the probability of selection of any path I was equal, but now no, not equal, because earlier we considered that every path has equal pheromone because there was no pheromone. So we considered that equal pheromone, and initially in the algorithm also we will take tau I for all the paths. Tau I we will take 1 for all the paths. We will take 1 initially, but therefore the probability will also be equal. But now the pheromone amount has been changed because ants have deposited the pheromone. So pheromone has been increased. Shorter path has more increment, and longer paths have less increment. And therefore, now the probability of selection of any path I is proportional to the amount of pheromone. Amount of pheromone means it is proportional to the tau I. It is proportional to the tau I. So this probability is proportional to the tau I. Of course, we have to define now this probability in terms of the pheromone. So how we will write this formula? We can write the probability formula. We can write tau I divided by sum of tau I. Sum of tau I. So I hope means sum of tau I means all the these pheromones on other paths are summed up here, right? So now you see that it is in the range 0, 1. It is in the range 0, 1, so that we can call this as a probability, right? So this is the formula for calculation of the probability for selection of any path based on the pheromone. So now here you can see that if this pheromone amount on any path is, this is same, this is constant for all the paths, right? So if this is higher, the probability is higher. If this is less, probability is less. It means now what will happen after first time, what will happen? Less ants will go here. So suppose now instead of 1 by 5, this probability becomes 1 by 8. Suppose this probability becomes 1 by 8, and instead of 1 by 5, this probability suppose becomes 1 by 2. Probability has been increased. This probability is increased. This probability, the minimum, this probability is the highest. So the longest path will have the minimum probability. The shortest path will have the highest probability of selection. So now again the simple statistics rules that if the 50 ants are there, this is a 0.5 probability. This probability is 0.5. It means 50% ants will go on this path. 50% ants will go on this path, and in remaining 50% other ants are there. Means if the probability of selection of any path is 0.5, it means 50% ants are choosing the shortest path, are choosing this shortest path, and other ants are choosing all these remaining paths with their amount of pheromone. So now you see this longest path has already less pheromone, and now even the less number of ants have chosen this. Very few ants have chosen this path, while this path has already concentration of high pheromone, and more ants are choosing this path. It means the amount of pheromone will keep on increasing, right? Will keep this shortest path will the amount of pheromone on this shortest path will keep on increasing, while here it is keep on decreasing. On the longer paths, the amount of pheromone will keep on decreasing. I hope you understand. So in the third turn, what will happen? Now this is further smaller probability. So the evaporation, even less ants are joining, and the evaporation is even high. So further this path may disappear. Even the probability may become 0 for this, and the probability may become suppose 1 by 8 for this, and this probability may keep on increasing. It may be 3 by 4. This shortest path probability may be 3 by 4. So the probability of shortest path will keep on increasing iteration wise. As the iteration increases, the probability for selection of the shortest path is increasing, and the probability for the longer path is decreasing. After few iterations, what will happen? All these paths, all these longer paths will disappear, and only the shortest path, only this path will remain, right? Only the shortest path will remain. All the paths big probability will become 0. All the ants are choosing only this path, and this is the way how they always find the shortest path from one point to another point. Now this is the same concept is implemented in the form of algorithm for solving an optimization problem. And what is the optimization here? The minimization of the path length. And in the traveling salesman problem, what we do? We minimize the path length of the traveling salesman, that from point A to point B, what is the shortest path? So same thing we do there. So that's why most of the time people explain this ant colony optimization algorithm, which is traveling salesman problem. So what happens? We calculate the probabilities. I hope you understand this formula is clear. There is a question. How will ant find total amount of pheromone while returning? Why they require? First of all, returning or going. In our case, both are same, right? Both are same concept. So whether they are returning or they are going, right? So here every time they will check the probability based on the pheromone amount. And if you ask me that how they will check the pheromone amount, then you need to believe on the smelling capacity of the ants, right? if the smelling capacity of ants, that they can smell that, okay, here is the more pheromone. So the pheromone amount is the probability, actually proportional to the probability. So just to scale down this in the range 0, 1, we divide it by the sum of the pheromone. Okay. So now what happens when you calculate the probability of each path? Actually, we have to in the algorithm we have to define the evaporation rate also, that in which by which rate this evaporate, right? I told you that the pheromone evaporates, but by what rate? So this evaporation rate is defined is denoted by rho, and usually this is taken as 0.5, means 50% pheromone will be evaporated, right? Also, what happens, it can be considered, however it is not necessary always, that only the best ant means the ants which are going through the best path. Best ant means the ants which has chosen the best path, right? So best ant can only best ants can deposit the pheromone. Why I took this condition? Of course, you can avoid this condition, even then the algorithm will work. Why I took this condition? Only the best ants can deposit the pheromone further, right? After some time, only best ants are depositing, right? Why I took? Just to avoid the misguidance, right? There are certain ants which are not good ants, and still they are influencing others, right? So just to avoid that, we took this, that only best ants can deposit the pheromone. And let me tell you that this concept is good if you have a unimodal optimization problem. Unimodal optimization problem, why for the unimodal optimization problem, actually what happens, suppose you have a unimodal. This is a unimodal optimization problem, and this is a multimodal optimization problem. For unimodal optimization problem, what happens, suppose one ant is here and one ant is here. So you can say that this is the best ant and this is not the best ant. So once this ant think that this is a best ant and the direction should be this, if the function is decreasing in some direction, it is decreasing. It is the global optima. So if any ant is the best ant, then it can be believed that, okay, in this direction you have a good solution, right? But suppose there is a multi-modal function. So one ant is here, and one ant is here. You can see that. For this, you can understand that this ant was here and it moved here. This ant was here and it moved here. Now you see here. You can see here that this ant in this direction, if it is moving, it is also improved, but in this direction this ant is moved, and here you can see that the minimum value is this. So this ant will think that this ant is a better ant, and in this case, if this ant is not allowed to deposit the pheromone, then they will lose the chance of reaching at the global optima. They will land at the local optima. So if you know that your function is multimodal, then this strategy is not allowed. For this example, just for simplicity, I took that only the best ant is allowed to deposit the pheromone, but I told you that when to use and when not to use, right? Okay. So only the best ants are depositing the pheromone. Other ants, okay, sorry. Best ants do not evaporate. Means the pheromone amount, whatever is the pheromone amount corresponding to the best ant, it will not evaporate. Means evaporation rate is 0. for the best ants. For the best ant, the evaporation rate is 0. Means once you have influenced, means you are an elitist member of this. Means you will not, your pheromone will not evaporate. This is not the natural phenomena. Remember, this is just the customization of the natural phenomena for our algorithm purpose. If you have a unimodal problem, if you have a multimodal problem, of course you need to you need not to take these two conditions. You can go ahead with the ordinary formula. I'm coming to that, don't worry. So best ants do not evaporate. So rho equal to 0 for that. This, right? Now, I hope I have explained this. Let me take one numerical example for this so that I can better explain you. Can you see this? So here, this is the problem which we are going to solve. This is a two variable problem. Remember, there are two variables. So two variables, this is the one important concept. If you have two variables, then for each variable there are for each variable the paths are be chosen. For x1 we will choose the paths. For x2 we will choose the paths. This is for x1, this is for x2. Now you see here that x1's search space is this, x2's search space is this. It means x1 can take 5 values, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here the x1's, there are 5 paths for x1 and x2 has 4 paths. So here you can see that these are the 4 paths for x1. Means 4 possible paths are for x2 and 5 possible paths are for x1. Means 5 choices for x1, 4 choices for x2. Now which choice of this path for this x1 and which choice for this x2 is the optimal choice, is the shortest path, so that the total x1 and x2 minimizes this function. Now this is our target. Now you see, you know that the minimum value is this and this. So 2, 1.2 is the optimal solution of this problem. But let me find it using ant colony optimization algorithm. So here you take in, this is a swarm intelligence based algorithm. So you take here the swarm size, and the swarm size is this number of ants, that is 5. 5 ants you have taken. Initially you will initialize the solutions. So I already mentioned you that initially what you will take, the pheromone amount tau will be 1 for each path. Means for all the paths the pheromone amount is 1, right, for each, and therefore the probability is 1 by 5. I hope you know what is the probability formula, tau divided by sum of tau, right? So 1 by 5, 1 by 5, 1 by 5, 1 by 5, 1 by 5. Here what is the probability? 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4, 1 by 4. Is it okay? So this is the notation. Just quickly I tell you, tau ij, just for here I'm mentioning it at 2 places. At 2 places I'm mentioning, just for one single notation, how this is defined, that tau ij is the amount of pheromone for the ith variable. So I equal to 1 and 2. Here there are 2 variables, so this is for ith variable, and if I equal to 1, then j is 5. This is j can vary 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because 5 choices are there for I equal to 1, and for I equal to 2 there are 4 choices, right? So j equal to 1 means you have tau 1 1, tau 1 2, tau 1 3, tau 1 4, and tau 1 5. But tau then 2 2 1, tau 2 2, tau 2 3, and tau 2 4 only, right? So these are the pheromone amounts from this path to this path. And initially what you are taking, all values are 1, all are 1. Initially all are 1. So this is called the initialization, all are 1. And based on this, you calculate the probability P11, which is 1 by 5, which is P12 equal to P13 equal to P14 equal to P15, and P21 equal to 1 by 4 equal to P22, P23 equal to P24, right? So this is the probabilities we will calculate. So here you can see the paths. This above part, this part is for x1, this part is for x2. So in the same figure, I now put both the paths just for explanation purpose. Here you can see that x1 can take these values, x2 can take these values. Probabilities I already mentioned that these are the probabilities calculated. Same formula, I just calculated 1 by 5, 1 by 4 for second variable. Now, after having this probability, what we will do, after having these probabilities, based on these probabilities, I told you that based on these probabilities, you have to choose the path, which path is to be chosen. And this path is selected based on the roulette wheel. Roulette wheel selection. This is selected based on the roulette wheel. So roulette wheel, using a roulette wheel selection, we use this path selection. So how we do this roulette wheel selection, let me explain what happens in the roulette wheel. I hope if somebody of you, we are the professors, students, so we don't go to casino, but in the casino, what happens, there is a roulette wheel. It is rotated, right? And these this roulette wheel has certain parts, some number of parts, and equally divided. And there is a ping pong ball which is put in this some part of this. So if suppose I bid that okay, if this number 1, suppose 1 is marked here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 numbers are marked on this wheel, and I bid for number 1. That okay, 100 rupees I put, 100 rupees bid I put, what is called bet. It is called bet. 100 rupees bet I put for number 1. And if that ping pong ball after stopping of this roulette wheel comes to this area, then I will win, right? Then I will win. Otherwise, I will lose, right? And of course, corresponding to that, I will get, since there are 8 parts, and the probability of my winning is 1 by 8, because the ping pong ball can stop anywhere in this wheel, and this part is 1 by 8 part of the total area, and therefore my probability of my winning is 1 by 8, and therefore 8 times money I will get, right? 8 times means 800 rupees. If I will bet for 100 rupees, I will get 800 rupees. If it is divided into 8 parts, I'm not sure how many parts it is divided actually. Now for in our case for x1, this roulette wheel is divided into 5 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and equal 5, and all are equal, initially equal. Remember, this is for x1, and all parts are equally divided into equal number of parts. They are divided. Let me just make my this clear. So 8 in 5 equal parts it is. Just bear with me. Actually, I could not divide equal parts. So 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope it is equal. Just please consider it them equal. Then what happens that this is your 0, and then this will be your 0.2. This will be your 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, and this is your 1. You may call it 1 or 0, whatever it is, right? Equal to 1 also. So what happens? In our case, this roulette wheel has 5 in case of x1, and in case of course, in case of x2, it has 4 equal parts: 0, 0.25, 0.5, and 0.75, right? So these they have 4 equal parts. So now what happens? What I say that initially they choose randomly. It is like roulette wheel selection. Initially randomly, so equal parts. So any path can be chosen with equal probability. So the entire range 0, 1 in this roulette wheel selection is divided into 5 parts. One is your 0 to 0.2. Another is, let me put this small bracket here, just that 0.2 I'm considering here in this, right? So 0.4, I hope this will not make 0.6, then 0.8, and then 0.8 to 1. I hope you understand this. So sorry, this one that can be, this one can be considered as 0, or in this case, right? So let me take it as this. So 0, 1. Okay, so here in this case, this range 0, 1 is divided into 4 parts: 0 to 0.25, 0.2, this is, sorry, and 0.5 to 0.75, and 0.75 to 1, right? So this is divided. Now how we do the roulette wheel selection. So what we do actually, there are 5 aunts. There are 5 aunts, and each aunt has 2 variables, x1 and x2. So let me just explain it for x1 only. And for first aunt, there are 5 aunts and 2 variables. So total 10 random numbers. Total 10 random numbers we will generate. So for first random number, what we will do, we will generate 10 random numbers. R11. R11 means first aunt's first variable. R21, second aunt's first variable. R31, third aunt's first variable. 4 aunts first variable, 5 aunts first variable. So this we will generate, this will be a random number between 0 and 1. This will be a random number between 0 and 1. We will generate these random numbers between 0 and 1, and we will see this R11, the first aunt. What I'm saying, the first aunt, there are 5 aunts. I gave that example 50 aunts. So here, just for simplicity, I took 5 aunts. So the first aunt is going to decide that which path to be chosen, and this is to be chosen by this random number, that it will decide that, okay, suppose this random number is 0.11. Suppose this random number is coming to be 0.11. It means the first variable, first aunt's first variable, there are, let me explain here, that 5 aunts means there are it may be written like x1, x2. Actually, I want to say that this is your first aunt, x1, x2, suppose x1 dash, x2 dash, x3 third aunt, x1 double dash, x2 double dash, and so on, right? So these are the 5 aunts. So they have the first variable, second variable. So here, if it is 0.11, then what does it say? What does it say? That the first aunt's first variable will be, since this 0.11 is in this range, the first range, first value, first range, and therefore the first solution's first variable will take the first value, this value, this 2, it will be this 2 if it is in the first range. If it would have been in third range, then the first aunt's first variable will take 6.5 value, and so on. So here you can see that this is your, suppose it is 0.11, then it will be 2. Similarly, we will do it for the second variable. We will do it for second variable, and in this case, what we will do, R21, R22, R23, R24, R25. Sorry, second variables 5 aunts. Aunts are 5. So we will generate a random number between 0 and 1. Suppose it is 0.7. Suppose it is 0.7. Now this 0.7 lies in this range. It means second variable will take the third value. for first aunt. For first aunt, the second variable will take the first value. Sorry, third value. So sorry. This is your third value, 5.9. Means what I said, that it will take this solution will be 5.9. So the first random initial solution is 2, 5.9 for this problem. Similarly, we will generate other values, and then of course we will check. Now so now I hope this probabilities we will calculate. So here this is for x1 Rowlett wheel selection, this is for x2. These are the random numbers for x1, these are the random numbers for x2. Between 0 and 1, 10 random numbers we will generate, and for every variable, suppose this is the first aunt's first variable's first value 0.1662, so it means the first variable will take the value 2, the first from that set. And similarly we do it for all the variables, and you see here 2, 5.973. This is your initial population. This is your initial population or initial randomly generated swarm. It means, in other words, you can say here that these are the paths, that this is the one path, x1's this and x2 value is this. This is your one, and you see that this is your best path. This is your best path. Why this is your best path? Because corresponding to this path, this 2, 1.2, the function value is minimum. How we will define the best path? In traveling salesman, the shortest distance. Since this is a minimization problem, so the shortest means the minimum value, function value, right? So minimum function value is this, right? Instead of calculating the distance, instead of calculating the Euclidean distance or something, here we are calculating the function value. Simple. If you are using this traveling salesman problem, then you calculate the total distance. Simple. So instead of here now calculation of this function x1 square plus x2 square, in the traveling salesman problem, what you will do with these variables, you will check the total distance, that this plus this, whatever is the minimum. So just add this. If this is your one path, then you add this, right? And that will be your fitness. So here my fitness is based on x1 square plus x2 square, and therefore this is your best path, and you see here that this is your worst path. Now we will update the swarm. We have done. Now we will update the pheromone. For pheromone update formula is this. This formula, let me just quickly tell you. Still I have 10 minutes. So pheromone update formula. In the pheromone update formula, how it will do, the new pheromone equal to the old pheromone and evaporation coefficient, whatever the evaporation you do, plus deposit. The new pheromone deposit, new also is deposited. However, in my this example, I told you that best aunts are not allowed. If this is a best aunt, then this evaporation is not allowed. If it is other aunt other than the best aunt, then deposition is not allowed, right? However, let me write first the general formula for you that can be applied anywhere. So this formula, the tau multiplied by 1 minus rho. I hope now you understand that evaporation means there was some this minus 50% is evaporated. So can I write this as 1 minus rho into tau, this 0.5, right? So this is your evaporation term and the deposition term. So this deposition term is this. Suppose this is the deposit pheromone, and since this is the pheromone deposit on that path, it's not only by one aunt, there are 5 aunts. So 5 aunts are depositing. So here theoretically speaking, all the aunts are depositing. So here all the aunts delta tau by all the aunts. So this is the general formula I'm not talking about best or so. So this is the general formula. But what happens for the best aunt? I'm defining it as only the deposition, that it is only depositing delta tau. So for the new pheromone on the best path is delta tau. Are you getting my, sorry, tau plus delta tau, not only the increment, the previous also rho equal to 0, in case of best, right? So tau plus delta tau, right? And for others, tau for others will be 1 minus rho and tau, and no increment in that case. So this is the formula that we are going to use in our case, but you can use this general formula also. I told you that why I'm using this simple formula. If you have a unimodal problem, then there is no need of this general formula. This formula will work perfect. Now, just quickly, I tell you about this formula, that how this delta tau is calculated. Quickly, I tell you about this delta tau. Delta tau equal to, this is a formula for this, Q into F best divided by F worst. What is this Q? Q is a parameter whose value is equal to 2. This, of course, 1.9 or 2.1 or so, that can also work, but usually this value is kept as 2. F best is the best function value, and this is your worst function value. I hope you understand that in this case, you see here that this, here you can see this is your best function value and this is your worst function value. So this is your F worst and this is your F best, right? So these we will use there, and Q equal to 2, right? So this is the amount of pheromone that we are going to use. This is the amount of pheromone that we are going to use, right? And rho I already told that 0.5. So just keep calculate these values here. This is the formula, delta tau formula I already told you, Q equal to 2, and look here, for the best aunt only the deposit, and for others only the evaporation. And just put all the values of the previous pheromone. If you remember, previously I took it 1 for all the paths, right? So previous pheromone is 1, right? So here, look here, it is 1 minus rho and 0.5. This I will check for only for the other aunts. What is the best aunt? You remember, if the best aunt was the first variables, right? So for j equal to 1, I will do another formula. So this tau 1, and for this the evaporation is 0, and I will use only the deposition, and deposition Q F best divided by F worst. So this is the probability, this is the amount of pheromone for best aunts, and for second variable, this is for second variable others, this is for second variable first variable others. Now based on this pheromone, we will use the same formula for calculation of probabilities. We will calculate the probabilities. Now you here see, based on this probability, again we will do the roulette wheel, but this time in this roulette wheel, the partition will not be equal. Partition for the best aunt is higher. So best aunt's probability is now taking more. Means when you rotate it and put the ping pong ball, then the chances of getting the ping pong ball to this particular larger area is higher, and therefore the probability of choosing this path, the shortest path, is higher. Okay, so here you can see that this is the best path, so you can see that the probability is higher. 0.36% part is covered by this shortest path. Similarly, the 43% part out of 4 parts, earlier it was 0.25, earlier it was 0.2, and it was 0.25. Now the area is increased for this. It means the more and more aunts are, means you are saying that 43.21% aunts are choosing this path, the shortest path. So more and more aunts are choosing this path, so more deposition. Okay, and then again we will do the roulette wheel selection using the same technique. The random numbers will be generated. The new solutions, this is the updated population. Now these are the updated solution. Here you can see that in this updated solution, the two ants are choosing the shortest path. Now two ants are chosen. Initially only one ant was there on the shortest path, but now two ants are there. Out of 5 ants, 2 ants are on the shortest path. So now you see that when one ant was there on the shortest path, then it has influenced a lot to other ants to come. Now 2 ants are there, they will influence more. And after some time, what will happen? All the ants will have the same value, 2, 1.2, x2, 2, 1.2, and so on, x5 also 2, 1.2. And when this will happen, we will stop the algorithm. We will say that the algorithm is converged to the best solution, right? So here you see that, and that's all. Here you see that 2 ants are now, and also one more thing, that here you see that this is your worst solution now, worst fitness, and this is your best fitness. So now you see here delta tau is q into f best divided by f worst. So this ratio is also now shrink. This ratio is also now small. This ratio is small means this delta tau is small. Means as soon as you are moving towards, you are coming closer, your amount of pheromone is decreasing. Deposit amount of pheromone is decreasing, means you are influencing less, right? So means the exploration is less and exploitation is more as this ratio becomes small, right? If this ratio is large, more exploration. Large ratio, more exploration. Less ratio, small ratio, less exploration, or more exploitation, means you are searching close by. Okay, and so we will continue the same process. Again, you have the updated solution, then we will continue this process until all the solutions reach at the same path. That's all from my side. So I explained the ant colony optimization algorithm through this example.